for wrestling, boys basketball, and adapted floor hockey, and the last one to start on November 25th, the boys swimming and diving. And at that point, all winter sports will be rolling. So we're kind of in that transition time. We're knocking off the fall state tournaments, and then we're moving into winter with no break. There was a great tweet. This one's also from Foston. They hosted a clinic for basketball officials the other night. More than 100 basketball officials at the high school in Foston for a clinic put on by the high school league. Oh, that's really good to see all those guys gathering. Big shout out to my buddy Byron Hagan from Minneota, Minnesota. Byron is the publisher, editor, sports editor. He may deliver the papers in Minneota. He does everything. It's a small paper, the Minneota Mascot, it's called. I got on the Minneota Mascot website after I'd chatted with Byron at the tournament. They've got a great link to the history of the Minneota Mascot. So it's a community newspaper started in 1891. Now, Byron's name is Byron Hagan. That's pretty easy. He's got a rundown of previous people who ran that newspaper. I'm gonna attempt these. These are not the Irish names I'm used to. Gunnar Bjornsson, that's the easiest one. And Gunnar's family members, Hallmar, Valdemar, John, and Bjorn. There's another one. And the very famous Ragnar Guttormsson.
Say that one more time.
Ragnar Guttormsson, something like that. So there's your background on the Minneota Mascot, one of the great little community newspapers. And one more short item here. This was really cool. A tweet after a Section 8 AA swim meet at St. Cloud Tech. A tweet was sent out. The Buffalo High School girls swim and dive team basically brought a thank you note to everybody working the meet at St. Cloud Tech. All the athletes signed it. That was for the table workers, the timers, everybody. Really a neat gesture. We see those kinds of things more and more, but way to go, Buffalo Bison girls swim team.
Good stuff. Let's go to Tweet of the Week.
Tweet of the Week. This is from someone I don't know, but I've seen her play volleyball. Elizabeth Helmick. I saw this either the night of the last night of the volleyball tournament, probably the next day. It's a very kind of stark black and white picture of Elizabeth Helmick sitting on the court in uniform by herself. And this is the point where everybody's basically left the arena and they're tearing down the volleyball court. She's sitting there by herself, back to the camera. She had somebody take this picture. And her message was pretty simple. Thank you, Wayzata Volleyball. You have left such an impact on my life. Leaving the court for the last time in my jersey was one of the hardest things. I'm honored, proud, and forever grateful. Number 5, signing off. That's pretty powerful. And I retweeted that and I said, here's a great testimonial to the impact of high school sports and activities. So way to go, Elizabeth Helmick from Wayzata.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Why We Play moment of the week.
Yeah, this one was really good. Also from the volleyball tournament, Carl Katzenberger is the Minnetonka volleyball coach. They had a great tournament, and after their first round match, we have formal press conferences. We have a media room, a coach, and some players will set up at a table. And he talked about what's really important. He said, it's not winning. He said, I tweeted some of his words. I'll read him here. This team really holds on to one of our core values. Let's treat each other the right way and good stuff happens. We want to make sure that we have personal relationships and treat each other the right way, and everything else comes secondary after that. He said chasing outcomes such as state champion, conference champ, section champion, that's a byproduct of what we're chasing. Well, that just sums up the whole Why We Play philosophy. We're here to become great people and treat each other right and learn these lessons. And yes, everybody wants to win. But it's these other things, these life lessons that we teach, and we see that more and more and more.
Let's wrap up with remembering veterans. Remember, we do have a deal with Bitesquad. The promo code is TALKNORTH. TALKNORTH will get your first delivery fee waived. Check out Bitesquad.com or use Bitesquad, the app. Remembering veterans.
Yeah, this is a special Veterans Day to me, Jim. And you grew up in a military family. Yep. You know a lot about this world. And I did not, although my dad was in the Navy. And my dad's the second oldest of 11 kids. And my dad's been gone 4 or 5 years now, but
don't you have to go for a dozen once you get to that point?
Right. Well, 3 sets of twins in his family.
Wow.
And 11 kids, 3 sets of twins, Depression era family in Iowa. And his big brother, Jim, the oldest of 11, passed away Saturday in upstate New York. He lives we joke, he lives in suburban Cooperstown.
I've been to Cooperstown many times.
Hartwick, New York. The kids all went to Cooperstown High School. The funeral was this week in Cooperstown. I wish I could have gone out there. I kind of thought maybe I'll get my mom and we'll venture out there, but we couldn't make it happen. So Jim passed away. He was 93. So I've been thinking about my dad and my Uncle Jim. My dad was a pharmacist mate, and I think the story is he lied about his age to enlist. He wasn't old enough, but his brother was in the Navy. My dad got into the Navy by hook or by crook, and he joked that his brother landed at Juno Beach. His brother was in on the Normandy invasion, and my dad said, "Well, I fought the Battle of Seattle Harbor." That's as far as he got. He's got great memories and great pictures of him and his buddies in the Navy. And kind of special to think about those guys, and they raised big families. They came from a big family. Here's what they did with their lives. My dad was a small town barber. My Uncle Jim was a bricklayer in the Cooperstown, New York area. His wife was from Brooklyn, in fact. I don't even know how they met, and she's been gone for a few years, my Aunt Kay. And, neither one of them finished high school, just great community people who did wonderful things. And this was unrelated to that. My wife and I went to a movie this week. We kind of shut everything else down, went to a movie, and the one we settled on was Midway, which is a World War II movie, the battle in the Pacific, and neither of these guys was in the Pacific. But just watching that movie, and then at the end they show the actors playing the crucial roles, and then they tell you a little bit about each of them, and they show these pictures of these naval admirals and pilots and veterans, and I just kept thinking, especially of my Uncle Jim, who saw action in Europe, and we can't do enough for those people, whether it's the greatest generation or people serving right now. This has been kind of an emotional time for my whole family.
Good stuff. Thank you for sharing that. And by the way, we don't get very political on this podcast, but whenever you're voting, look up the records of the people you're voting for. See if everybody says they support veterans.
Yes.
Vote for the people who actually support veterans.
Absolutely.
Who actually make sure that they get medical care, that they have a chance to get jobs. Everybody waves the flag, but some people stop after waving the flag.
And again, not being political, but if somebody says, "Yep, I raised $2 million, I'm giving it to veterans," but you put it in your own pocket, that's not the optimal way to go here.
No, I don't think that helps.
No, nobody appreciates that.
Great stuff from John. We do appreciate everybody who listens. Thank you to Pizza Barn Princeton, pizzabarnprinceton.com, and Bitesquad. Remember, the promo code for Bitesquad is TALKNORTH. The promo code for Pizza Barn Princeton is just go say, "Hi, we like pizza, we listen to Talk North," and they'll give you a slap on the shoulder or something like that. So busy weekend for John coming up. We'll get together next week and wrap up the football playoffs as far as they've progressed. We'll start getting more into winter sports. And if you ever want to tweet at John a question about your school or high school sports in general, feel free to do that. MSHSL John, correct?
Correct.
Yep, at MSHSL John. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. We'll talk to you next week.